Hey guys, and welcome to this conversation video for your worship teams. We're so glad that you're choosing to join us today, and we hope that you get a lot out of this. Today we're going to be talking about tips for at-home practice. I'm sure at one point or another you've heard the phrase practice makes perfect. Now, this doesn't mean that you're actually going to be perfect, but it does mean that you need to practice to get better at whatever you're doing. The more time you put into something, the more it's going to pay off in the future. And this is so true with your giftings on a worship team. God gave you these gifts, and He longs for you to cultivate them and to grow them, all for His glory. So the first practice tip is to listen, listen, listen. So when you have the song that you're going to be playing that week with your worship team, first and foremost, you should sit down and you should listen to the song. Listen, listen, listen. And we wrote it 3 times because this is really the most important thing. You're listening for so many things throughout the song. You're listening for your own part, you're listening for the parts of others, you're listening for the dynamics of the song, you're listening for the tempo of the song. And listening isn't just you sit down and play it through and listen to it once. This is over and over again. You're listening to it and you're learning the parts just audibly, not even with your hands or your voice or anything like that. You're just sitting down, you're focusing and listening to what the song does and where it goes. The next tip is to break it down. Breaking the song down by sections is going to not only make your practice more efficient and meaningful, but it's also going to save you time. You're not going to have to keep running through the parts that you already know very well. You're just going to know, oh, in this song, in the chorus, I really have this part that I need to practice on. But other than that, it's really, I just need to kind of play through the songs. So you might have to go through those easy parts of the songs maybe once or twice, but then the harder parts of the song, you want to go through it 4 or 5, 6, however many times you need to get it down. So after you've listened, after you've broken the song into sections, you now need to slow the song down. Slowing it down is for these difficult parts of the song. You're slowing it down, you're going through it slow, and I always used to hear my teachers say that if you can play it slowly, you can play it faster, because playing it slowly, you're playing it almost flawlessly, and then you're not going to, once you have it slowly, you're not just going to automatically bump it up to full tempo, full speed, but you're going to gradually build it up to that, and that's a much more efficient way of doing things rather than just trying to do it at tempo and messing up over and over and over again. And it's going to just help you to feel more confident as you do it, because okay, I can play this, it's just a little bit slower, but by the practice or by the rehearsal on Thursday or by the weekend service, I'm going to be able to play it at the full tempo. The next tip that you can do to help you practice is to play like you're on stage. Really, the main point of this is to play the song seamlessly. Don't stop and make it choppy, because when you get to rehearsal, you're going to be not stopping and practicing. You're going to be running through it. And so you need to practice on running through it seamlessly, or as seamlessly as you can. And this is difficult for some of us because we're perfectionists. If you're like me, whenever I make a mistake, I like to go back and correct it. But there's a certain point when we practice that we should not do that, because when we get used to doing that, we don't know how to recover from our mistakes. So when we act like we're on the stage, you can't go back and fix a mistake. You just have to roll with it, you have to put it behind you, and you have to focus on what's ahead. And so really, when you're by yourself, it's going to be very beneficial when you're practicing to run through it seamlessly like you're playing it on the stage. So you have your part down solid, you're running through it seamlessly, maybe you only make a couple mistakes, maybe you don't. Now what you should do is you should play it for an audience. Now this may mean someone in your family, this may mean that you record yourself and you play it back for someone, or even yourself. Sometimes it's funny because a camera can just put this pressure on you to feel like you have to do something perfectly, just like a person would. And for most of us, we have our phones, we have our computers, and so it's very easy for us to record ourselves. And so don't be afraid to do that. When you have the song down and you've practiced it on your own and you feel ready to go, turn on a camera and record it for yourself, or invite one of your family members to come in and listen to you play it. That's kind of weird at first, but really it's going to, when you get in front of people or in front of a recording, it just adds another element to your nervousness. And so to make sure that you practice on playing it as well as you can, invite people in. Invite people to listen to you play. And even though it's weird at first, it really will get better as you do it more and more. So the first tip was listen, listen, listen. This last tip is to repeat, repeat, repeat. And repeat the song over and over again. Repeat all of these steps that we've talked through, because through repetition, we're really going to be able to refine our practice and what we're doing. So one of the goals that I would set for myself before I would move on is I would say, I want to play this right 5 times. I want to play it as well as I can 5 times straight. So if on the 4th time I made a mistake, I had to go back and start over. And what this did was it just really helped me to make sure that I had it down, because sometimes what we can do is we can listen, we can break it down, we can slow it down, we can act like we're playing in front of people, we can record it, and when we get it once really well, we're like, okay, great, I'm done. But no, you're really not done. If you do it once correctly, that's great, but then make sure that you can continue to consistently do it correctly and effectively. And the only way to do that is just to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. So I hope that gives you some good ideas of what you can do when you're practicing at home by yourself, and really set goals for yourself. Set goals to reach a certain point, and once you reach that point, set another goal to reach another point, because practice can become so tedious and we just really don't want to do it. But ultimately, practice is going to help us be better at the rehearsal and then ultimately the service. And so practice is very important, and to practice well is very important. So talk through this with your worship teams, and we hope to see you in the next conversation video.